and stuff.
Yeah, there you go. You got
Okay.
it. You do good.
Okay, thank you
It's all
so.
yours, sir.
Yes, it's so good to be back here in Helena with you guys. You know, Montana is my favorite place in America, and especially this weather. Back at home, it's over 100 every day, and everybody's complaining. And I'm just sending them pictures back of snow, you know. So no, it's just amazing, and I know half of you guys in here, and it's just so wonderful how God just worked it out that Africa and Montana are so tied together in one, and it's just one of the miracles of God. And so yes, I've got a question for you guys this morning. I got a message last night from above. And the question is that you passed your COVID test. And then I thought, no, I haven't gone because I'm part of you. I also got the same question. So I said, I haven't got tested yet. And God said to me, no. Have you passed my COVID test? And it reminds me of the story of Joseph, where Joseph's story goes from God's dream that he had for Joseph to Joseph's destiny. And you know all Joseph's story. And the tests that was in Joseph's life, where he was thrown into a pit and he ended in jail and in the palace, and you know the story. And I think if you go and read Joseph properly, there is like 10 tests Joseph had to go through to get at the end to his destiny and run the country. And God, and it's not only Joseph, each of us that sits here, God had a dream for us when we were born. And the question is, are we going to get to our destiny? And how much is our role in this whole journey with God to our destiny? And then we ask ourselves now, how much has this COVID to do with the test? Isn't perhaps some of us, or all of us, have, and especially me, I'm not talking to you guys, I'm talking to myself first, and I'll tell you later on my test I had in 2020. And but if you just go further on and you just look at what the Bible talks and what people talks, it's a funny thing. I'm going to read there a piece out of the Bible, and you probably will know who said it. And it says, "My heart took delight in all my labor, and this was the reward for all my toil. Yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless, a chasing after wind. Nothing was gained under the sun." You guys know who wrote that, eh? That's King Solomon. And we know it all. And I've read it 100 times, but have we really paid attention to that? And especially in the COVID. But then something interesting. I read the other day, a guy wrote this a couple of years ago. And he said, "I reached the pinnacle of success in the business world. In others' eyes, my life is an epitome of success. However, aside from work, I have little joy. In the end, wealth is only a fact of life that I am accustomed to." At this moment, lying on the sick bed and recalling my whole life, I realized that all the recognition and wealth that I took so much pride in have paled and become meaningless in the face of impending death. You know who wrote that? Steve Jobs. So, have you ever thought, and you know better with Steve Jobs than me, he's a computer guy, that's all I know. But did you ever thought Solomon and Steve Jobs will say the same thing? And that they figure it all out? And I don't know when Solomon wrote that, he was probably old and close to death when he wrote that. We know Steve Jobs died a couple of weeks after he said that. So why is it so hard for all of us to get it? Solomon said it thousands of years ago, and Steve Jobs said it the other day. But in between, and we here, we still don't get it. Should we wait till we're on our deathbed before we say, okay, that is what we should have done? To stop worrying about nonsense in our lives, to stop worrying about politics and COVID, and really live a life of abundance that God wants to give us. But then, out of the blue, I got another letter. This was crazy. This is just God. And this guy is a GI specialist in Dallas. And he got COVID. He's 50 years old, a healthy guy. And he got COVID. And he was also kind of getting closer to his deathbed. Thankfully, he made it and got healed up again. And then this is what he wrote to me. I'll just take out some extractions he wrote here about family. Then he wrote it about God and family and life and stuff. But what he said about family was that nothing is more important to me than family. And I mean, that is very true for all of us. We love our family and we do our best for our children and for our grandkids and all that. But then here's an interesting part he writes about God. So this is what he says. God, does he or she exist? This is a big topic, controversial for sure. I was praying to God when I thought I could die. But who is God? I was raised as a Buddhist. An Episcopal church in Dallas had sponsored my family to Dallas in 1975. They helped us get started on a new life in America. I am grateful for what they have done for my family. Out of respect, my father sent me and my siblings to Sunday school, where I learned about Christianity. My parents were devoted Buddhists, so they never converted. Interested in science himself, I was not particularly religious. I then married a Catholic, and her stepfather is Jewish. You think what a mess is all that now? I think religion is good. It's good to have faith in something that's not harming others. My daughter asked me once what religion she should follow. I told her, if you need spiritual health, you will seek it out as you get older. As long as they are not sacrificing animals or humans, I'm good. I feel they should discover their own faith. I do pray to God, and I do appreciate all the prayers and good wishes from the people during my illness. I thank God for saving my son and now me. When my son was born, he was in ICU for 11 weeks. I will strive to be a good person so I can go to heaven. For now, I'm more in line with fate and destiny, but I'm still searching for answers. It might just make me think this part of our guy in Africa, one of the preachers that says, good people don't go to heaven, saved people go to heaven. But this is what he writes about success. Success, what is the measure of success? Have I been successful? I think for many the measure of success is your salary, size of your house, and brand of your car. But if I died with millions of dollars in the bank, would that be success? I hope that before I leave this earth, I have made a difference and contributed to mankind in a positive way. My wife does a lot of volunteer work. I can start there. Find time to volunteer, to take care of patients at the country hospital. I also train future GI doctors. Beside my children, they will be my legacy. I'm proud to have trained them. I grew up poor and worked hard to get here. So I feel I have succeeded, but I need to contribute more to mankind. So, a smart man like him Doesn't he get it? Where I'm so thankful, but I think I was 45 years old when God showed to me that my passion that I have for the outdoors, I should use for His glory and not just to make money like He's doing. And then we communicated a little bit, and then I got another email from him, and he said, I hope one day I can devote more time to philanthropy like you. Sure, I can write a check, but it will be more rewarding if you are actually involved. And then he talked perhaps to go with his wife and give out food parcels downtown. And I was just laughing, and I thought, hey, this guy is so smart. He's a specialist and a GI doctor and all that. Doesn't he get it exactly where he is where God wants him? How much can he mean to those patients or the doctors that he's teaching to become GI doctors? He can taught them all he knows about GI, but further than that, about life, about compassion, about Jesus, that's where God is exactly with. This is a Joseph story. He just don't get it. Unfortunately, I asked if I can meet him for coffee, so you guys better pray because I'm going to have a long talk with him about this. But he's there, but then the question comes to me, and I ask, but what about all of us? Aren't we perhaps at this place and we just can't figure it out? Because I'm so thankful God gave it to me when I was 45 years old and got that. And that I didn't get because I was smart. Like this doctor, he must be a smart man, and he just couldn't get it. So where are we? And especially in this COVID. COVID got this guy to write this. And perhaps it's for me and you the time to go and write our COVID story. That we don't need like Solomon to figure it out when he was old, for Steve Jobs when he was dying, for this guy who thought he was going to die and he got healed up, but he still wrote his Solomon story and his Steve Jobs story. All of us got that story. And what are you going to do about it? And that, I want to bring my COVID story to you this morning. What's the time? I just don't mess up here. So, my COVID story started 20 years ago when, in that time, when God called me out of cattle ranching to start doing what I'm doing now. But all He told me was to get out of ranching and not telling me where I'm going. So, I got a 6-month vacation since I stopped ranching before I started this hunting business and missionary. And there were 6 months that God gave me vacation. And I messed it up because I didn't know what to do. I couldn't see where God was taking me. There was just faith, and that's all I had. And that's why I always joke sometimes about Peter that jumped out of the boat. Did he jump out of fear or out of faith? And I can relate because I think I jumped more out of fear than faith. But here I was for 6 months. I used to live on a ranch, and here I was in a town. For 6 months, not knowing what to do with my life, where I'm going, where God is taking me. I have to take care of my children financially and my family. And that 6 months, I messed it up properly. And 20 years later, I'm on a plane, beginning of March 2020, on my way back to South Africa, feeling so good about myself. I've been 6 months in America. We've got 50 Americans coming over to hunt and ministry. And The best of all was that the first client we're going to get was a lady with the name Diane Patterson. And she's the founder and president of a non-profit called Forward for Women. She lives in Dallas, big organization. She's a Harvard MBA graduate. She's a former global executive of 2 Fortune 500 companies and 1 Fortune 1000 company. And it goes on and on and on, and she's an author, and she rubs shoulders with billionaires, and man, was I ready for her. Because that's my job, is to try and get people, Christians over from America to South Africa, and expose them to the needs there, and in that way help get people involved in helping the ministry and the orphans. So here we have this big fish. Man, and I was talking, they were going to go to Cape Town first, and I had my people ready there, and I told them exactly what to do and spoil them and show them all the nice stuff. And then she was going to come up to us, and I will take her on photographic safaris. She was not a hunter, she and her husband, on photographic safaris, and I've got my champions ready in Alexandria, the town that we work, and I was ready to mess her up properly. That she will lose her whole heart in Africa. And I was, as I said, I was sitting on this plane scheming all these things out, what I'm going to do and stuff. And I landed in South Africa, and we heard this COVID is getting more serious. You remember that in the beginning we were laughing about COVID. We thought, no, man, that will just go past. And it got worse and worse, and I thought, oh my goodness. And then this lady, Diane Patterson, and her husband already took off from Dallas, and they landed in Heathrow. And I got a call from her, and she says, they're turning around, they're not coming, because this COVID is getting serious. And they turned around and went back. And then, of course, we heard nobody's coming anymore, and everything got closed. And here I was, with nothing. And I've got 6 months, which I was going to get 50 Americans, and nobody's coming. Man, and I was obviously disappointed. But then it all came back, that story of 20 years ago, where God gave me a 6 months vacation. And I said to myself, this one I won't mess up. I'm going to enjoy this one. And we did. Me and my staff on the ranch, you guys had been there, we had so much fun. We were working hard, but it was all physical work. There was no worries or mentally any problem. So we would work hard in the day. In the evenings, we tired, and we sleep well and get up the next morning again. The other part was that I could wake up in the morning, spend an hour or two with God, reading Bible, just talking to God, and go to work when I was feeling like it. Our neighbors, because the ranch is like on an isolated area, and me and the neighbors will get 2 or 3 times a week. We'll get together. We call it a braai in South Africa for a barbecue. And we will hang out and visit. And I had the best 6 months of my life. But what was the difference? It was just my attitude. Because the same thing, I don't get a salary out of the ministry. I make my money out of hunting. But I was broke. I had nothing. But I remember that time. So I was better equipped. I don't want to say I'm good today. I still got a lot to learn. But I was ready for this 6 months. And God just blessed me so much. But then the money side was a problem, yes. But like 20 years ago, where I worried about it and got anxiety and couldn't sleep and had to be on medication and all that stuff, I know it was in God's hands. And thank goodness God just helped me to keep that faith. So there are some little stories how God got me through that. Because when I got back to Dallas in end of September, broke, with no money. So I said, my wife lives in Dallas. So she's a nurse, so she's got money. So I said to her, listen, I'm sorry, I don't have anything. And she said, it's okay, I'll take care of you, that's fine. But it still doesn't feel good. I mean, you may know how that feels. Your wife has to support you. But anyway, so then I try my best to be a good houseboy. I would cook and do the washing and the dishes and everything while she's at work. But God's plans, man. So this friend of mine in July said to me, hey, I've got a friend here that wants a sable antelope. So that's quite an expensive animal to shoot in South Africa. But he said he cannot come and hunt it because he's older now and he's got problem with his feet. He cannot walk. But he wants a sable. And I said, but it's expensive. And he said, man, that guy's got so much money. So I said, okay, if you want one under 40 inches, it's $3,000. If it's over 40,000, over 40 inches, it's $4,000. He says, no, he wants the $4,000 one. So I went and shot it, gave it to the taxidermist, and here I was back in Dallas, and I saw the guy, and he wanted to write the check for me. And I said, make it out in my wife's name. So when my wife came back from work, I gave her the check and said, yes, my boarding and lodging. So God was just amazingly, and then another test I had to go through was, then I saw two Christian business people I know. I don't know them well in Dallas. I asked for them to have a meeting with them, and then I told them my predicament. I have no money, nothing. And they worked out, and they said, go, how many people do you know in America? And how people are you got in relationships? So I said, I don't know, 100 or more. And they said, go and work out a budget and go and contact those people. Tell them your predicament and see what comes out of it. And there I hit the pride test. Now I must go and beg for money. Man, fortunately, I've got a friend from Montana, Brad. He did most of it. But I had to contact 4 people and ask or beg for money. That was hard. But I knew it was going back to the Joseph's tests. Pride was also one of Joseph's tests. And I had to know that. Am I going to pass or fail my COVID test? Because it goes back to that. And I emailed them, and one emailed back and said, but they didn't do so well. I don't think they'll give me money. And I said, it's fine. Your friendship means more to me. This is about God. It's got nothing to do with me asking. Anyway, they gave me money. But the wonderful part was, the 1st of January, Brad sends me a message and says, the amount that we budgeted, we got it. The 1st of January. And that was for me like God was writing his check out for me for 2021 and say, here's your salary for 2021. I'm giving it to you on the 1st of January. And that's my COVID story. And then to go back to who we are and God's dream for us and our destiny and where we're working with the orphans. Because I'm not here because I want to be here or smart or whatever. God puts me here so I can represent the orphans of South Africa and talk about them. And the children there, we're giving a chance. The children there that don't have a chance in life. That if we don't step in, and that's not only just giving them food, but the other part that's coming in and giving them a Christian education, where you need to remember they grow up in a non-Christian religion or culture. And those kids don't know, if they get saved, they don't know how to live Jesus' life. And that changed with Christian education. And when I came to America on the 1st of October, we had some in the 20 kids sponsored. When I'm going to leave in March, going back, we will have 50 kids sponsored without us really doing much. God made it happen. And that's my message to you today, is just relax and put more attention on your relationship with God than to worry about COVID and other stuff. Thank you.
Consider it a test. And was God working out in our lives, and are we looking to Him for provision? That's going to be the conclusion of our service this morning. We're going to watch a short video, and then you're going to be released to get your kids. They'll be ready to get out of their classes. Rufus and Brad will be out here in the lobby. They have a table set up out there if you want more information. And we also continue to support Rufus and the Village South Africa organization. So if you do drop donations off here at the church in the weeks ahead, be sure you mark that for that. We would support them in that as well. So you guys, thanks for joining us. I would turn your attention to the video as we wrap it up. Thank you.
Far away in a coastal town in South Africa, darkness had overwhelmed the community of Alexandria. But the light of two candles, Jehovah-Jireh Haven and Alexandria Christian Academy, are piercing this darkness with the hope of Jesus Christ, the light of the world. In a country ravaged by AIDS, HIV, fetal alcoholism, extreme poverty, and hopelessness, these champions are making a huge difference, one child at a time. Molly and Niels Bam have been caring for children at Jehovah-Jireh Haven for over 25 years. We asked Molly how God had called her to sacrifice her life and her home for these children.
Molly Bam does not touch people like this. And for a split second, there's like almost a silence. And clearly I could hear the Holy Spirit talk to me in my mind saying, look through my eyes, they are beautiful. They are created by me. We will never give you anything that you could never do. And it stuck with me after 25 years. Often I think back to this and I think, wow, Lord, thank you. I said sorry to Him because I know that's the ministry, to love the unlovable and touch the untouchable.
In recent years, donations from people around the world have helped to feed and clothe the children, as well as enlarge and enhance the facility. Along with providing the basic needs of life, JJH also gives the foundations to a discipled life. And because of the poor quality of public education, JJH started a preschool 4 years ago.
At this preschool, we teach kids the shapes, colors, months of the year, days of the week, and prepare them for big school. The school has been going for 4 years now, and currently I have 12 kids, and will all be graduating soon.
Alexandria Christian Academy was started over 15 years ago by Gretel Olivier to bring outstanding Christian education to the community.
Our vision is to change Alexandria by developing a biblical mindset in everybody in Alexandria with God's love and the tool of Christian education in excellence. The name Alexandria in Xhosa means place of darkness, and God showed us that this darkness can only be lifted by His love through His Holy Spirit. And He showed me that education is the best tool to help lift that darkness. Character training and Bible education is an integral part of all academics. We had excellent results of our students who went on to university, but that is what makes it very expensive. And the kids that we want in our school can mostly not afford it, even though our staff work for very low salaries. We have a very close relationship with all our students. Our system is a personalized system of instruction, so it is individual, targeting individual needs of students to help them to find their true potential and purpose in life. We want to give them hope and a future by a biblical value system.
Children's lives are being changed, one life at a time. But there are many more children in need of the life-changing hope of Jesus. You can make a difference by sponsoring children from Jehovah Jireh Haven to Alexandria Christian Academy. You can be a light in the darkness of South Africa.